Good morning, students. Today we're going to start with the poem My Mother at 66, written by Kamla Das. Now, Kamla Das is a poet who used to write of the subtleties of human relationships. And so do we see in the title itself, Mother. So it's a relationship with the mother in her old age at 66. Now, this poem is basically a portrayal of a daughter's feelings and concern for her old mother. We all know that aging and time spare none. Separation because of distance or death becomes unavoidable. And here in this poem, when the poet looks at her old mother, she perhaps understands the finality of death, which looms large on her mind. Looking at the old mother, she's pained and worried and realizes that the mother might not be there for her with her for long. She's sad and anxious at the thought of losing her mother. Thus, the poem portrays a painful experience. Let's talk about the poem now. In this poem, the poet Kamla Das is driving from her parents' home to the airport in Cochin. Her mother is sitting beside her, and she's in her old age, dozing with her mouth open. The mother seems to be very old. She's inactive, cold, lifeless, without any movement, static at the age of 66. The pain which the poet feels is basically of losing her mother because of separation or death. And this thought of her mother's impending death basically came to her mind. She realized that the mother might not live long with her for long, and she had already lost the brightness of her face and looked pale and weak. So the poet is pained because she understands the mother's aging and nearing death. The poet wants to distract herself from her mother, and to withdraw the painful thought, she looks out of the window. The car is moving, so the young trees appear to be running backwards, and this is termed as sprinting. This distracts her mind from unhappy thoughts of her mother's old age. Secondly, she also contrasts between the young trees and her old mother. The young trees symbolize the freshness of life, while the old mother symbolizes passive life, aging, and death. Another image that she saw looking outside the window was that the children were running here and there. They were merry children, merry, happy, full of activity, energy, life, childhood being the initial part of human life, whereas the mother is completely contrast, inactive, dull, without energy, no movement, unhappiness on the face. So the two images basically portray a direct contrast to the old mother. However, the joyful scene did not help her drive away the painful thought, and they finally reached the airport. The poet then went to the airport security check, and when she was at a distance of a few yards from her mother, she turned to look at her mother once again, and she found the same old mother who seemed to be colorless, dull, and without energy. Now, obviously, she was old as she was weak. The poet experienced the familiar ache which she had in the car, and also, the childhood fear of losing our mother. We all know that one day our parents have to leave us because of age and death. So the thought of her impending death once again passes her mind. Finally, the mother has been compared to the late winter's moon because she has lost her shining skin and strength and is now hazy, obscure, and dull. The poet emphasizes the colorless, lifeless, inactive life of her mother. She fears that aging would ultimately lead to death and hence separation brings pain and ache to the poet. To hide her true feelings, she said, "See you soon, Amma." Now, these parting words of poets signify that the poet wants to end the meeting on a positive note, on a note of and a hope of meeting again with the mother. Definitely, it is a faint hope, but she leaves a smiling face behind for her mother. She actually is hiding her pain. Maybe, the guilt of leaving her old mother in this age. So she tries to comfort herself as well as a mother by and thereby dispels the constant fear of separation and death. And now, and now, the poetic devices, figures of speech, or literary devices. We first have the usage of simile with two examples. Face ashen like that of a corpse, and the other one is pale as a late winter's moon. Simile is basically a comparison drawn between two different things with at least one similarity. So when we talk of a corpse, corpse is again without brightness, without color, inactive, no movement, and dull, obviously. And so is the face of the mother. When we talk of late winter's moon, it is hazy, obscure, not that bright, and so is the pale face of the mother. Now, next we have the usage of imagery, wherein we have two images. One is trees sprinting and merry children spilling out of their homes. Now, these two images serve as contrast to the old mother. Young trees, talking of youth, energy, life, whereas merry children, again talking of the initial stage of life, happiness, brightness, which is in complete contrast to the mother. We then have usage of repetition, which is smile and smile and smile. So when a word is repeatedly used, it highlights, the usage of the word, and so is repetition. The two images used to describe mother's face or corpse and late winter's moon. Common between the two images are paleness, weakness, lifelessness, dullness, all those things. And the words driving and doors provide a good contrast, giving images of dynamic activity and passivity. So that is all about My Mother at 66. Thank you.